Hello, everyone. We are so excited to welcome Hannah Roze. What a perfect name for somebody in the wedding industry. I had to just inject that there. Brilliant founder of Plannerd, the wedding planning platform that turns, oh my God, this is so stressful. You go from like, yay, we're engaged to, oh no, to, wait, this could actually be fun. All because of her great new invention. She helps couples go from juggling a million tabs and texts and notes and probably post-it notes too and spreadsheets to feeling perfectly organized, confident, and in control with one beautifully simple planning hub, all without the meltdowns, chaos, or drama. That sounds really good, doesn't it? Hannah, tell us, how did you decide to go down this road and invent this great thing?
Yes, absolutely. So my husband and I got engaged in the fall of 2019, and I picked out my wedding dress January of 2020. And if you're tracking with me on the timing, in March of 2020, obviously we all know what went down with COVID, and we ended up planning our wedding for 2 years, 1 year of normal planning and 1 year that we moved it out a year. And in the meantime, we did a little 14-person elopement along the way. But over the course of those 2 years, we sent spreadsheets back and forth to one another with our wedding planner, who had all the expertise in the world. She was incredible. But we accumulated over 50 pages of email inbox threads. We were text editing our credit card into PDFs. You're sending things back and forth over years and years. And it just became this project management rat's nest that we could not believe that with 2.5 million people in the US get married every year. And it still felt like we were reinventing the wheel when it came to the organization and the project management of the whole process. So during the journey, my husband and I kept asking ourselves, why is this so hard? We're not trying to do anything crazy, but it seems like we're just approaching this and it's so difficult. You have a full-time job, you're living your life, and then it becomes a second job that you have to get everything organized. So my previous life before going into business school was at a company called Carta, and their whole premise was organizing private equity information around a source of truth and in a hub. And so I had worked on software in that capacity before, and I was seeing so many parallels between what that offered in the equity space and wedding planning, surprisingly, and needing a place to have that source of truth, the hub, the place where everyone could live and breathe and project manage. And as a result, hopefully enjoy wedding planning and not just white knuckle through the process.
I love this. I love this. Back when I started, it's about 15 years now, coming up on 15 years, and brides would have. That's when we met in person too, because it was before COVID. Now everybody just does Zoom. They'd come in with big binders, like they were going to school with the giant binders and all the tabs and stuff. And then I know people use wedding websites that make it easy for people to go and double check the time and when to be there and the dress code and all of that, so you don't have to keep track of the invitation. But it's only natural that your planning would come to one site that you can share. And you mentioned emails, all the emails you get. That is the one piece of advice that I would tell any couple just starting. Get a separate email just for your wedding.
Definitely.
Start a separate one just for your wedding. And if you go to bridal shows, perhaps a separate one for that too. That way it's not clogging up your business or your personal email, right?
I would suggest a fake name too. Just
Maybe for the bridal shows. No. But this way, it doesn't get clogged up, and maybe you have one that for the vendors you hired, or the ones that you have just inquired about, or something like that. But okay, so tell us how couples use your planning.
Absolutely. So a lot of people that I speak with when I was in the kind of investigation research phase before we launched, I wanted to understand what are the tools and what are the systems people are using currently, and whether this was a me problem in my experience or if it was truly a chronic problem.
Right.
And I think the largest spreadsheet I saw was 51 tabs that a bride had created. And it was comprehensive, but at the same time, there's a point where it becomes overwhelming and not actually helpful in the way that it's getting you organized, and what you thought was going to get you into a place of calm is actually just making you spiral even more when you're thinking about all the things you have to accomplish, who's helping you, and then you really end up feeling like, I want to delegate to someone or have my mom help me or my maid of honor, but how do I let go of this system that I have or the lack of system? So what we offer is a place to keep everything organized and in one place where not only are you getting the structure of your budget, timeline, to-do list, guest list, but also some expert advice along the way. So we offer a full kind of soup to nuts wedding planning task list that can be customized to what your specific event needs. And you can have all different subtasks and attachments and make sure everything is living in one place. So you're not thinking, where is that invoice? Where is that conversation? It was in a note, a journal, an email, a phone call. Now it can just be in a central place where you know where things are, you feel organized, and through that you can feel a sense of calm and peace and hopefully enjoyment as well.
I love that. I love that.
Nice, right?
And I think that this is, so what's the cost for a couple? And it's good for wedding pros too, I think, in the business. But what's the cost of this currently?
Yes, that's right. So it's just a one-time fee of $99. So rather than getting into a long subscription where you forget to cancel, or maybe you just feel that fatigue from one more subscription, one more thing to get into, it's just $99, and you can invite as many different users to the platform to collaborate with you as you need. So that could be your wedding coordinator, it could be your officiant, it could be your best friend, your partner, obviously, so that everyone who's helping you, you're delegating things out to them, you can all be operating out of the same notes, inspo photos, budget notes, things that you want to communicate to your people. So it's just $99 and you're in, you have it for life as long as you need it, as many different things as you want to apply it to.
That's great. I can see this being something, fingers crossed one day soon, if my daughter came to me and announced their engagement, I would send this as a gift, you know?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Great gifting idea when they announce their engagement.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that idea. And really getting, there's so much excitement at the beginning that the planning can sometimes feel like this reality check of how much project management and details and all the things you have to do. But we want to allow people to continue that excitement and feelings of happiness and empowerment, because it's such a fun chapter of your life. And I think a lot of people have gotten used to, wedding planning as a frustrating rite of passage. And, I just have to kind of get through it and then the big day will be amazing. But we believe, and I believe, that the journey can be enjoyable also. It doesn't have to be, a frustrating 14 months and then the one day is amazing. It could be both.
Right, exactly.
We talk about that a lot too.
I agree with you. Yes, the whole thing should be joyful and fun, and yeah, absolutely. What are you seeing as trends for like 2026?
Trends are making me sort of chuckle right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everything I'm seeing on social media and articles are a bit all over the map right now. And I was just chatting with one of our Plannered team members about this, where I'm seeing, reels and carousels of the trending colors 2026, and there will be maybe 7 or 8, 9 different colors in trending, and they're fully different from, cobalt blue, coral, white, everything kind of.
Let's not forget white. There's a trend. There's a trend you don't want to miss. White. Whoa.
We talk about this too, about don't get caught up in what you might see on social media, because I know a lot of couples planning their weddings are going to go to social media. They're going to go to Instagram, TikTok, and see. And it's hard to decipher what a real trend might be that's working and fun and maybe new for you, versus somebody that's just created content to put up on their social media to keep their account, they're a content creator for weddings. And some of them don't make any sense at all. I mean, we've had some good laughs about like the bride getting her hair cut in between the dress, or having the officiant stand in the aisle. No, in front of the photographer. Like, what are you talking about? So some of them are just made up, but some might be real. One of the things that I like is it used to be during the reception, when it was time for the cake cutting, everybody might be all out on the dance floor, and they stop it and invite everybody to watch the cake cutting. They've kind of done away with that. Why stop the party? They take the couple and maybe their parents or their bridal party, definitely the photographer, and do the cake cutting there. Let everybody else keep dancing. You know what I mean? Like, why stop the party? We got them all on the floor. And that makes sense to me. But some of them are just like, this is made up.
That exact cake dance flow, actually, that was something that I would redo in my own wedding, where we had such an amazing band that everyone, including my husband and I, were on the dance floor from the moment they started until the bloody end of the party. And so we just snuck away to do the cake cutting photos, but I had that one piece of cake that he sent to me for a photo, and we never really got to enjoy the cake, and we had so much cake left over. So I would have wanted more of a cake moment.
Well, I'm not saying don't serve the cake and stuff, just stop in the party, and then, you know what I mean? Like, to witness the cutting thing. Yeah, because the cake that's a biggie. That's good. I don't want to miss it.
Oh, yeah. People make fun of wedding cakes, but wedding cake technology has come a long way.
Oh, yeah, so good.
It really has. Who was your band? Give them a nice little shout out.
Oh, we worked with the Dart Collective, and they were amazing. They have a number of different musicians you can choose from to have a multi-piece band with different brass musicians, and it was just totally rocking. So couldn't recommend it enough.
That's great. Where are they based out of? I don't think I know where you're actually based out of.
I am based in Seattle, Washington. And
oh, wow.
Our wedding was actually in Carmel, California.
Oh, that sounds nice.
So we were planning cross-state, where, you don't know any real of the vendors. You don't know a lot of the kind of systems in another place. So we really had to rely on our wedding planner for that. And I think that's why the communication and the collaboration aspect became so important, because you are having to communicate so much virtually. And I think that's a mode people are more used to now, but those tools didn't evolve to help serve that virtual collaboration. So that's where hopefully we can help elevate that process.
Well, I think Plannerd is good for all kinds of weddings, the big wedding, and also because we see a lot more micro weddings too. And it doesn't matter the size, right?
Absolutely. Any kind of size. I mean, we had our 14-person elopement while we were pushing out our 170-person.
Yeah.
And if you have all of those same factors, floral, catering, the venue, all the music, different things you're juggling, the scale almost doesn't really matter in terms of how many emails you're sending, how many vendors you're accumulating. So the level of complexity can definitely be consistent, even if you have a micro wedding. And I found that to be true in my own experience. And as soon as you invite guests, that's when it also becomes complicated. No matter how many there are, there's going to be questions, there's going to be things to juggle and organize. So yes, applicable across all sizes, all different visions. The organizational piece we can help with all along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. People think, we're only having 20 guests. It's like, well, you still need food. You still need music. You need a dress. Somebody needs to have something to wear. It's not, it's the same. I think a lot of the drama is missing when you do something small, but for everything else, you still need it all.
Yeah.
How would somebody get started with you? Like, let's say I'm getting married and I think this is a great idea. Then what happens next?
Yes. So you can go to plannerd.com, plannerd.com. You can get started right away. We do have a discount code going right now for a 30-day free trial. If you want to just log in and see what's what, the code is there on the site. So you can come in, create your account. First thing I would recommend is to invite your partner to come in so you can both be on the same page with everything that's happening. If your mom or maid of honor is in the mix, you can get them on as well. And then we also have two different resources on the site even before you create your account. One is a quiz to help determine what is your planning style, or kind of reflect on yourself and what kind of mode you hope to be in from a planning perspective. And then we can help recommend specific tools and things that might be helpful based on what your personality type is. And then we also have a free downloadable resource that's a wedding planning checklist. This is the same expert checklist that you'll find in your account when you log in. We're giving it to couples to take off and use as they will. And then if you do want to bring it forth and use it in your account, we have it there waiting for you also.
Yeah, I like it. You also have a budget tracker, so you can stay, budgets are real, and it's nice to be able to track that and see how you're doing.
Yes, very important. And that's something that I definitely recommend people sit down and have that tough conversation right out of the gate so that it can help guide all of your decision making. Because I know a lot of couples, it's sort of sensitive conversations. You might not want to get that out in the open, but it's so important to nail that down right up at the beginning so that you can feel good about the decisions you're making along the way. So budget tracking, guest list organization, timeline creation when you're organizing that run of show, what the day will look like. You can base all of that on the planner site as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
The timelines can keep, timelines, people think it's not an important thing and it's kind of not a fun thing to talk about, but your timeline can really make or break that day. And it also affects the budget, because if you start having overtime, for your photographers or your shuttles or things like that, it can really add up. And ultimately you're not getting the day that that you were thinking you were going to get.
Right.
Totally.
The timeline, that's a good one to do, to have that, keep your wedding day perfectly aligned, because weddings are, for the venue and the vendors and that therefore for the couple, they're all about timelines. If you've hired your makeup artist for, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, or usually it's earlier in the day, and two of your bridesmaids show up late, well, your makeup artist has another job. They're not going to stay. And if they don't have another job and they stay, there's going to be an overtime fee. And that's for every vendor, on there. You're hiring them. Everything has to go on time.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And the vendors that you so painstakingly chose to be a part of your day don't get to give you their full expertise if things are off. And so you're only really hurting yourself and the experience of the day if you don't plan ahead. And it's definitely not, the sexiest thing to think about every little minute, but it will allow you to have a more smooth and a better experience overall if you know what to expect and your key people who are helping you know what to expect. So definitely need it.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, because
me too.
Yeah.
And keeping your budget in place, and none of these things sound like any fun, but they really contribute to a better sense of well-being about the whole way the day is being planned. And I think ultimately, when I walk into a wedding where I know everything's under control because I know the place and I know the vendors, it's like I know these people are going to have a wonderful time because they're not worried about anything. And and they remembered to hire me, so it's, people, I think having one kind of like hub for everything that you need to figure out, even if you don't think that there's that many things, it kind of frees your brain from having to keep track of all this stuff, which is ultimately, I think, more useful.
Yeah. I'm curious for both of you, what does it mean, the difference between working with an organized couple versus a more chaotic couple? How does that impact your work?
It can make it more stressful, especially if you have, with the timeline, I might have another obligation, work or otherwise, afterwards. So, if you're an hour late, that's very stressful. And like you just said, you kind of feel like you're trying to hold that stress behind, But I think both Celia and I are very good after all of these years of wrangling the couples in, and let's get on a phone call, let's get on a Zoom. I need to hear what you what you want. Please give me a hint. Religious, non-religious. Tell me something about you so I can give us an idea we want to create. And that is something we're seeing as couples booking closer to their wedding date.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that so much as long as we can gather the information. I just love to have some time to write the ceremony, send it to them, have them review it and give it back to me, and I can make changes because like Celia and I were both like, I love my work, and I want to leave a wedding going, that was great. That was such a great ceremony. The guests, they laughed, they cried, all of that, but anything could start making it, if some vendor that was at the beginning of the day becomes late for whatever reason, and it doesn't mean irresponsible. It could be a crash on the parkway, and the buses they hired to get the people there are now delayed, and all of that. You just have to learn to work with it, right? You have to kind of go with it, and hopefully you can resolve the stressful situation without the couple knowing it. But yeah, you gotta have the skill to wrangle the couple in.
Definitely. Yeah. Part officiating, part psychology therapist, getting it all together.
Exactly. Right. Is that what you would say, Celia, or what? How do you?
I feel like when couples have the sort of unglamorous underpinnings of these events under control, then they can have fun with, picking the colors and filling out our questionnaire and, getting a great ceremony together and, doing a tasting and, but the kind of the framework has to be in place. And if it is, then you're not going to be up at night the week before wondering, did you pick your hors d'oeuvres? It can keep everybody on track with all the multiple different things that they have to do to get this thing accomplished. So, and building in extra time, I think, that's the biggest advice that I can give to anybody is just everything is going to take more time than you think. Right. Just build in extra time. When I get there and you've done your first look and you're sitting in your bride's room having a glass of champagne with your shoes off, I know the rest of the wedding is going to be just great.
That's the perfect spot to be in. Relaxed.
That's right.
Enjoying the moment. You're truly living in the moment. It doesn't have to be that blurred day where you don't remember anything, but when you're present and you're calm, then you can really enjoy it.
Exactly. For us, we have the extra of we are the people that make it legal, and we need you to bring your legal paper.
That's true.
With you. So I will be hounding you. If you have not already applied for your marriage license, now is the time to do so, and give them the instructions on how to do it. Did you get it? Okay, bring it to your wedding. As Celia says, stick it in your shoe. Bring it to your wedding.
That's right.
Otherwise it's just a rehearsal because we have the legal part, and then we have to file the legal paperwork. So that it's reminding that it's getting that done correctly too.
Yeah, and remember your dress. I actually had somebody forget theirs. I had somebody forget their wedding dress.
Oh, no.
They forgot it in another state. And
oh, no.
I just don't even, obviously we were late going down the aisle, but it's like, this is kind of what you're coming here for, right? So it's like, don't forget your dress.
In the mental checklist, how does that fall off? That's number one.
I know. Right?
You're so busy. The other great piece of advice because I've had this before, and it always falls on groomsmen, not the groom himself, usually groomsmen. They go and they get fitted wherever they're ordering the suits from, right? So they go and get fitted, and they go to pick up their suit, and they just pick it up. They don't try it on.
They don't try it on.
And then they put it on the day of the wedding and it doesn't fit them. It's floods or it's, whatever. And they come out like, try on the suit, even though
whose clothes are you wearing? Did you take a tuxedo from a waiter? What is what's going on?
We've seen those, and you just have to go with the flow with that, right?
Just put them in the back, put them behind somebody else.
It'd be great photos.
Please steam your dress, steam your suit so the wrinkles aren't taking away from the beautiful photos.
Right.
Yeah.
There is something that I see quite often because I don't think guys' suits aren't as popular as they used to be. Guys used to wear suits all the time, to the office and this and that. And you don't see that so much. And I see a lot of groomsmen. I see a lot of guests, and I guess they're not told to take those little threads out of the back flap.
Oh God!
And you see that, you see those all the time, like the little X's there. And groomsmen, anybody attending wearing a suit, you should cut those little threads off and take the label off the
the little tag on the sleeve. That's got to go.
Sleeve.
The one for me during our wedding was earring backs, because I had new earrings. You know, when you find jewelry, sometimes don't tend to have the little backs to them. So I'm putting my earring on during the photo where they're kind of getting the put your earring in for the photo. I'm like, oh, there's no back on this. And the photographer actually had to take the backs off of her earrings to give them to me to wear so they wouldn't fall off. But that's one tip that I had to figure out. Bring backs for your earrings.
Yeah.
Or extra pencils, because you can use a pencil eraser. I've actually used half of a jelly bean I found in the bottom of my car in a real emergency.
I love it. I love when you think about the stress of one, like the couple that they wanted to do a rose ceremony for their mothers, but the florist forgot to drop off 2 roses. So it's like I'm walking around looking at the flower arrangements on the table, picking up 2 of the prettiest flowers. And here I am, like taking flowers out. Don't worry, the bride wants me to do this. You know. We got it. We've done it.
Great. I got it. But I think the takeaway is the more organized. Something is always going to go sideways in every single wedding. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just something doesn't happen the way that you planned, and sometimes those things can be the best moments.
Right.
But if you have the planning in place as much as you possibly can, when something does happen that you don't expect, it's not like the 10th thing that day that's gone crazy.
Right.
So you can, like, okay, so what if the place cards aren't like dark red? They're like medium red. It's fine. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to care. So
that's exactly right. And I think what we've tried to do is be approachable to both couples who are already in that very type A mindset where they're organized in their own life and their professional life already, and they'll find our platform to be familiar and structured and kind of calming in that way. But we also know there's so many, the type B people who they may not be that organized or have those systems in their own life, but they can still plug in and find value and feel like this is also for me as someone who is getting my arms wrapped around what it means to be juggling logistics and details and all of the kind of project management aspects. So we hope to be welcoming and inclusive of all different kind of levels of organization and kind of technology, comfort levels.
Yeah. No, I think that's good because, I think everybody can benefit from being probably a little more organized than they are. I know I can. There's some places in my life that are very organized, but usually like the wedding part is very organized, but the rest of it, I don't know. Do we have milk? Who knows? But, I think anybody can benefit. And I think the price is very reasonable. I think that there's a lot of value there for that. And I think it is a great gift. What a wonderful engagement present that would be.
Yes, I think so too. I love that. I'm very into this. I think it's very helpful, and I think couples are going to love this. It's a great idea. And you have your website, plannerd.com. Of course, I want to tell our listeners that we will put a link to the website, Instagram. You have a great YouTube channel that explains it as well. And right now you're getting the 30-day free trial with the Plannerd 30. So, couples, go check it out. It doesn't matter where you live throughout the United States, right? You go in and do this, and I think it's very helpful, and it's going to make you happy. Take the stress out of it. I love the quiz. I think the quiz is fun. Everybody loves a quiz. So what is, before we say goodbye, Hannah, what is your number one advice for couples?
My number one advice would be to really reflect on what you want out of the experience with your partner, and to make it personal about you and your love and your journey together. And we were mentioning earlier, it can be so easy to get into the comparison, social media, game where you're seeing so many images and, beautiful images, but it can become stressful in a way where you feel compelled to level up or, achieve something when you're straying from that initial, goal of celebrating your love together. So I think establishing that intentionality right at the beginning, that we're going to be true to ourselves. We're going to think back to, why are we doing this? Because it's going to get frustrating. It's going to get complicated along the way. And being able to return to that intentionality and the whole reason behind what you're doing it, I would say continue to check in with yourself and your partner about, why are we doing this? Are we feeling like we're being true to ourselves? We're honoring the mission of this union and everything that we stand for. Just be true to yourself. I think there's a lot of comparison. Be true to yourself.
Such great advice. Yeah,
that's
don't compare. Be true to yourself. And remember, a lot of the stuff on social media, especially if it's called a stylized shoot, that's not a real wedding. It's a stylized shoot. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And like I said, for our listeners, we will be putting the link to planner.com. Also, I think your Instagram is plannerdinc.
That's right.
At plannerdinc. We'll be putting that there, as well as your YouTube video. And thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here with you both.
All right.
Thank you so much. Good luck. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey wedding officiant Andrea Pertel, owner of For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
And Celia Milton, owner of NJ Vows Now, also New Jersey wedding officiating services. We're up in North Jersey and Andrea is down in Central and South Jersey. So together we cover the whole state, don't we?
Yes, yes.